hour on GBC News. My name is GTV. And I am Winifred Otin. Robert Conformance will translate the news in sign language. Now the details. The first company under the 1B1 flagship program, is formally opened for public. President Akufo-Addo inaugurated the wholly owned Ghanaian factory at Ekonfi in the central region. The factory was built at $15 million. Edward Nyakon reports.
On 21st August 2017, barely 8 months after assigning to the highest office of the land, President Akufo-Addo cut the sword for the construction of the Ekonfi Fruits and Juice Factory. Out of the $15 million injected into the project, $10 million was a loan provided to the company by Exim Bank of Ghana. Currently, the production capacity of the factory is 10 tons of processed juice per hour, which is about 10,000 fruits per hour. This means that the factory requires 4 acres of pineapple fruits to be harvested for processing every hour. With 1,000 acres of pineapple under cultivation, employing about 475 outgrowers, the factory has created direct employment opportunities for over 550 people, including engineers, food scientists, marketing professionals, accountants, and technicians. In addition, more than 1,000 indirect job opportunities in Ekonfi and other adjoining districts have been created. The wholly owned Ghanaian company has one of the most modern automated agro-processing plants in the country. President Akufo-Addo said the initiative is designed to transform the industrial landscape of the country and build the capacities of local entrepreneurs and existing enterprises to produce high-quality products for both domestic and foreign markets. He added the 1D1F is to create jobs particularly for the youth in rural and peri-urban communities and thereby improve income levels and standards of living while reducing rural-urban migration.
The Ekonfi Fruits and Juices Factory is yet another example of government's determination to promote the industrial transformation of this country. Government will continue to partner the private sector to establish similar modern factories which will be globally competitive and take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area that will begin trading on 1st January next year.
For the president, making this company operational is another feat achieved by his government and has confounded the naysayers who describe the project as a hoax.
In my remarks, I appeal for the unalloyed support of every Ghanaian for the success of this project. Unfortunately, our political opponents did not heed this call, with some going as far as calling this project a hoax and a political gimmick, and with some describing it as a grass cutter breeding house. Nearly 3 years down the line, we have confounded the doubting Thomases, those without faith and without vision. And I'm very happy to be here, back here in Ekonfi, and indeed very proud to commission the Ekonfi Fruit and Juices Factory.
The paramount chief of the Ekonfi traditional area, or therefore Achin, in recognition of the development that has taken place in the community, conferred the title Nana Oyadze Nokwafo, the first on President Akufo-Addo. Nana Oyadze Nokwafo, which means Chief of Development and Truth, according to him, is due to the president's reliability, hard work, and unwavering attitude.
The people of Ekonfi deem it a privilege and great honor to recognize you for your sterling achievement in Ekonfi and Ghana as a whole. I know the chiefs and people of Ekonfi share in my excitement to celebrate your leadership and admire your encompassing spirit, your vitality, and your vision for making Ghana a great country.
170 students from the Ekonfi traditional area have benefited from the district-based government scholarship scheme since 2019, while some of the youth have also been engaged through NAPCO, teaching and nursing. Edward Nyakon, reporting for GBC News.
Visit to the central region, President Akufo-Addo performed groundbreaking ceremonies for the rehabilitation and expansion of the Mina Fishing Port and the construction of a 39 million Ghana cedi bridge on the Pra River at Pusfo, Praso. He also inspected work on the Praso District Hospital.
The
Elmina Fishing Port Rehabilitation and Expansion Project is estimated to cost over 80 million euros. At Edeba, the Omahene of Edina traditional area, Nana Kwadwo Kondia, thanked the government for the numerous interventions and projects introduced and implemented in the area. The Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Madame Afolekwe, the Tourism Minister, Mrs. Barbara Otinjesi, the Minister for Works and Housing, Mr. Atachia, the Transport Minister, and the Regional Minister took turns to address the chiefs and people on projects being implemented in the region. President Akufo-Addo said the Elmina Port Expansion Project will improve the fishing and salt industry. He announced that the traditional leaders would soon benefit from royalties from heritage sites.
Already, work is progressing steadily at all the locations, with the sites at Axim, Discove, Senya Breko, and Gomwa Fete scheduled to be completed by the end of the year. Once completed, Nananum, I appeal to you to help ensure that a prudent maintenance culture is adopted by management in the use of the fishing port. All of us must appreciate that the deterioration of infrastructure and other assets of state are an enormous drain on our national resources, and this port should not suffer the fate of other facilities with a poor maintenance culture.
At Trifo Praso, the president interacted with chiefs and people of Trifo and Mokwa traditional areas. The paramount chiefs of the areas, Obrimpong Apia Nyama of Trifo Mampong and Osiadie Yokwesi Kening of Etimokwa, mentioned some completed road projects such as the Cape Coast to Trifo Praso Road. They, however, appealed for the construction of the Praso Fosso Road. The Minister for Roads and Highways, Mr. Kwesi Mwakwata, said the ministry would soon show documentaries of some road projects across the country.
Central region, according 5,700 kilometers. 5,700 kilometers. They say, minimum, like I said, we have 109 road projects throughout Central Region. 109 projects.
The president later cut the sword for the 39 million Ghana cedi bridge project on River Pra. It is expected to be completed in 2 years. President Akufo-Addo also inspected the district hospital project, which is almost complete.
Away from that story, the government says it has no plan to sell the Ghana Airport Company. When he inspected work on Phase 2 of the Tamale Airport, Minister for Aviation, Mr. Joseph Ada, told staff that the government is aware of the strategic importance of the Ghana Airport Company and its ancillaries, as well as the job opportunities on offer to Ghanaians. He therefore asked them to disregard rumors about a purported sale. In August 2019, President Akufo-Addo cut the sword for commencement of work on the Phase 2 of the Tamale Airport project. The project involves the construction of a 5-kilometer road to connect the airport to the main Bolgatanga Highway, a multi-purpose terminal, a Hajj village, a parking lot, and offices. The aviation minister's visit was therefore to assess the progress of work and to interact with staff of the Ghana Airport Company in Tamale. Mr. Ada expressed satisfaction with the quality and speed of work and urged the engineers to ensure that the project was completed on schedule. He outlined the socio-economic importance of the project to the northern region in particular and the country at large.
We have an international airport in Kumasi, but Tamale is where it's perhaps the biggest in the sense of land space that's available. The runway is, I think, 430 or so meters, slightly longer than Accra, and it's available to take all kinds of facilities. It's really very good for us. We're very happy about the work that's going on. We wish we could complete it tomorrow, but it's not possible.
Interacting with staff of the Ghana Airport Company, he said government is looking to employ more Ghanaians when the second phase of the project is completed. The Northern Regional Minister, Mr. Salifu Said, commended the chiefs and people of the region for choosing peace.
We all know that in our part of the country we have seen intermittent violent conflict, which scared some investors away, and now that there is peace in Northern region, peace in Dagbon, whose soil, whose land that this airport facility is being constructed, they see it that is a benefit of the peace we are enjoying.
He emphasized that the airport project and any other development project can only happen when there is peace.
The Green Climate Fund GCF has approved $54.5 million to address deforestation and forest degradation challenges in the northern Savannah zone of Ghana, whilst promoting investment in the share value chain and women's empowerment. The Ghana Share Landscape Emission Reductions Project, which was approved at the ongoing GCF's 26th virtual board meeting, will be implemented by the Forestry Commission with technical support from the UNDP. The implementation will be in partnership with multiple national and local institutions, civil society organizations, and private sector actors. The project's interventions are expected to result in the restoration of 200,000 hectares of off-reserve savanna forests and 300,000 hectares of degraded share parklands, as well as the establishment of 25,500 hectares of forest plantations in severely degraded forest reserves. It is expected that the activities will result in emission reductions and removals over the first 7 years of the project's lifetime. Among other benefits, the Ghana Share Landscape Emission Reductions Project will also bring about a breakthrough in the share sector by enhancing revenue generation for women and strengthening the livelihoods of over 500,000 people in northern Ghana.
Now, the former running mate for the Progressive People's Party in the 2016 elections, Ms. Bridget Jugbenuku, has filed her nominations to contest for the flag bearer position of the party. She is asking all party delegates to give her the mandate since she is confident of winning the 2020 elections on December 7. Born in 1969, Ms. Bridget Jugbenuku is a former Miss Ghana and writes the column Manes Matter for the Mirror newspaper of the Graphic Communication Group Limited. She was also the general manager of Aviation Social Center and worked with Ashanti Goldfields Company as well as SC Johnson Ghana. As the executive director of Mentoring Women Ghana, she was nominated by Dr. Papakwesi Indum as his running mate in 2016. She is an accomplished entrepreneur who ran her own public relations and event management protocol. Ms. Bridget Jugbenuku believes time is right for women to lead in politics.
It is time for a new kind of leadership that leads with compassion and understanding. Indeed, research has proven that economic growth is driven by women. Yet, women's issues such as affirmative action and spousal rights have been cast aside by successive governments in power. I am doing something different by jumping into the 2020 race because I want something different. I want to tell others like me, those of us who are tired of the 28 years of crawling a few paces forward and taking huge steps back, that we can do something different. We can be the difference we want. The difference is in our hands, and I dare say in our thumbs. A new kind of leadership is possible.
The flag bearer hopeful also outlined the vision of the Progressive People's Party when elected to the highest office of the land on December 7.
We want a country which we will be proud of, where people are thriving and the economy is booming, where hard work pays and theft or corruption is punished. We want a new kind of leadership that grows towards its vision and dreams. A new kind of leadership that gives people the freedom to grow and learn and succeed. The Progressive People's Party is different. it is the new kind of leadership.
She called on all Ghanaians to vote for the PPP for better economic prospects.
The news are live on GBC News. The Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, says political party manifestos are social contracts in which parties to the contract, the voter and the party, must engage each other to ensure the promises are upheld. At a regional dialogue with political parties, CSOs and the media in Bolgatanga in the Upper East, the Executive Director, CDD Ghana, Professor Henry Prempe, disseminated portions of its publication on complications of issues and evidence on key sectors in Ghana under the Manifesto for Inclusive Development project.
The idea behind the Manifesto project, promoting responsive and responsible manifesto for inclusive development, is to shape manifestos at the drafting stages to deepen democracy. It also seeks to improve the use of manifestos to address critical national and long-term development issues. This project is a compilation of issues and evidence in 10 key sectors spanning governance and public administration, health, social services, economy and infrastructure. It also seeks to build trust, responsiveness and accountability as the manifesto is being compiled to improve popular participation in its development. The general view among scholars of Ghanaian electoral politics was that manifestos of yesteryear had little effect on voter behavior or on election outcomes. Once in power, political parties and their leaders did not genuinely govern or feel obligated to govern in line with the promises or commitments they made in their manifestos or during their campaigns, and voters did not hold government to their electioneering promises. The Executive Director, CDD Ghana, Professor Henry Prempe, said the center put together evidence-based research to inform and influence public policy for the greater good of the country.
If manifestos are going to become important, then the people outside the parties must also have an input. Because if it's going to become like a social contract, even though it's not a legal contract, if it's going to become a social contract, you cannot just write a one-side contract and say that the other side must obey it. So we wanted people outside the party to have a say, to have an opportunity to input into the process. So this is how we devised this project.
It's barely 4 months to the December elections, and political parties are frenzied in their campaign activities, selling their development plans for the country in the next 4 years. In the following report, GBC News samples the views and expectations of residents of Inshaiso, a rural community in the Asante Achim North District of the Ashanti region.
In every election year, some voters express disappointment in politicians, accusing them of reneging on promises made to them during their electioneering campaigns. Some threaten not to vote again. GBC News visited Inshaiso, one of the hard-to-reach communities within the Asante Achim North District of the Ashanti region, and asked the inhabitants whether they registered during the recent mass voter registration exercise, whether or not they voted in the previous elections, which party or candidate they would vote for this time, and on what basis. The respondents said they registered for the new voter ID card but are reluctant to take part in the 2020 elections because they are disappointed in politicians.
But for the intervention of MTN, this community would not have had access to classroom units for our children.
We are yet to benefit from any of the government's flagship programs. So far, there have been no development in our communities.
At least, say school went to Mankokrana, say youth employment, and na kakra, it be surviving the kind boy.
Others, however, said they will try once more. They mentioned improvements in access to education, provision of healthcare facilities and employment opportunities as their reasons.
Everyone votes for change. So as I want change to happen in my life, in my community and the nation at large, there is a need for me to vote.
Any person who is willing to make sure the country will reach wherever God wants the country to reach, I will forward, I will follow the person and then vote for him.
In Accra, the First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, says Ghanaians must take advantage of government's social intervention policies, such as the free SHS policy, among others, to break the vicious cycle of semi-literacy and poverty in their communities. Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo paid a courtesy call and presented items to the people and traditional councils of the Teshi, Nungwa and Osu areas to support this year's Homo.
The First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, also of Ghana descent, is touring most parts of the Greater Accra region to support the Homo, which is celebrated by the Ghanaians annually, a reminder of their long battle against famine and how the rains finally came to ease their plight with a bumper harvest. Accompanied by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Ms. Shalai Kobotwe, the Deputy Minister for Health, Dr. Bernardo Koboy, and other dignitaries, the First Lady paid courtesy calls on the chiefs and elders of the Osu traditional councils, the people and traditional leaders of Nungwa, and all the 5 clans under the Teshi Traditional Council. The First Lady also presented some food and assorted items to the traditional councils, which included corn, palm nuts, and oil. She commended the people of Teshi, Osu, and Nungwa for maintaining peace and order as they prepare to celebrate Homo, and also urged them to forge towards a united traditional leadership for economic investments.
Ni aye homo wo ye shiami ni saniko akani na wo ye hela ni ba he wo COVID-19 ehe ahunto kewo kwe na hie e bagba wo na bia ne case se asipon jojogba no sani wo bomode ni mask na ke wo ni wo ne mo fe mo aweko mi na bia ke me sanwo no nye bomode ni gba aka wo ten lehun gba aka wo ten ni wo forward ni sanitizer lehun wo for use mo koni helane eje wote ne ya.
The First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, who is also the Executive Director of the Rebecca Foundation, pledged to support government's efforts to enhance the lives of citizens, especially women and children. The chiefs expressed the appreciation to the First Lady for her support and commended the projects implemented by the Rebecca Foundation, which has greatly impacted the lives of women and children in the coastal communities of the Greater Accra region. For GBC News, Friwadako reporting.
And still in the capital, the National Identification Authority has opened an office in Tema for a Ghana card registration mop-up. A pilot version of the exercise, which began on July 30, is taking place at the Tema Central Metro Assembly at Community 4. The exercise will be extended to the whole of Tema from 24th August to 8th September.
For various reasons, some Ghanaians failed to register for the Ghana card during the mass registration exercise in the country, which began in the Greater Accra region on April 29, 2020. Some failed to register, complaining of crowd and long queues at the registration centres. Others, however, did register, but there was delay in the processing of their cards and had to wait. The National Identification Authority is doing the mop-up to ensure that all eligible Ghanaians have the national ID. NIA officials at the Tema Community 4 office, where the pilot is taking place, say the response has been very high, with the office recording between 70 and 80 people in a day. The district registration officer, Mr. Emmanuel Asaribediakon, told GBC News that the high turn-up is an indication that a lot more Ghanaians want to acquire the Ghana card.
We started on the 30th of July, yes, but the applicants started coming in from the 1st of August. Because as at the 30th of July, we believe that a lot of people didn't really have the knowledge that we were here. It's a pilot, so like I said, depending on how it will go, then it will be decided as to whether it can continue to be a permanent office or not.
The supervising registration officer, Mrs. Josephine Baini, said the process had been smooth, but some of those who came to register could not produce the appropriate primary document, which sometimes make it difficult for them to get registered.
With the authority, no challenges so far, but with the applicant, as we all know, we need to explain things to them, especially with the digital address, the Ghana Post. But immediately you explain to them, they go get it and they come and the process continues.
Mass registration across Tema will start from 24th of August to the 8th of September.
These are returns shortly. Please stay with us.
It's GTP, the name behind authentic and original Ghanaian textile prints, and West Africa's leading print and textile brand. Step out
from the business space. For 3 days running this week, the composite index of the Ghana Stock Exchange cumulatively decreased by 35.73 points and inched up on Thursday by 2.42 points. Here is Head of Investment Banking at CDH Securities Limited, Mr. James Affo, with updates on the performance of the GSC this week.
This week has been a very busy week
in
terms of trading activities on the market. But unfortunately, we've been experiencing downward trend in prices, and that has impacted negatively on almost all the indicators. For instance, if you take indicator like the market capitalization, it has declined, though the week has not ended. We are yet to get a trading result for today, so things may change. From Monday, so yesterday, it has declined by 0.68% as compared to that of last week. It has also declined by 1.78%. The financial stock index has also declined by 2.48%, and that of the year to date has also been on the downward trend. It has declined by 8.71. So relatively, I would say last week was quite better than this week. The whole thing has to do with demand and supply. Now, those who are willing to sell maybe raise money for their daily upkeep, exceed those who are willing to buy. So with this, the brokers fronting for the buyers will then have the opportunity to bargain for lower prices. So it is basically caused by excess of supply over demand. That has actually pushed most of the prices down, like what we experienced. So people are selling more than those who intend buying.
Go to the aviation industry now. 12 African countries have reopened their airspace. 13, including Ghana, have hinted of reopening, while 20 still have their airport closed. Aviation industry players in the country wait eagerly for a possible reopening of the country's airspace next month.
The impact of the closure of the airport on travel and tour companies and the traveling public cannot be overestimated. Everybody who is involved has been negatively impacted, and the blow is very heavy because, as I speak to you now, some of our colleagues have closed their offices. Workers have been laid off. Those who are working, some of them can tell you that they are not receiving anything. Some are receiving something just to keep soul and body together. So the impact is very great. Travel and tour people have been expecting that the airports will reopen so that they can continue with their business. That is what they do to do best, and they are waiting eagerly to continue with their business. So I can say on authority that all travel and tour are ever ready to reopen. We are just hoping that the president will give the go-ahead for the airport to be reopened. Then we will start our business.
So
because day in, day out, people find out when are we.
Still business live on GBC News. Government has taken a decision to exclude security agencies in the country from the unification of pensions and has opted to allow these services remain on the already existing pension programs such as the CAP 30. Addressing the media on Thursday, the Minister for Information, Mr. Kojo Nkrumah, said the decision was reached after an examination of a report of the National Pensions Act 2008, Act 766.
The security services will not be subjected or included in the program to unify pensions. They will instead remain on their already existent pension programs like the CAP 30 and the other pension programs that exist. So that's a quick update from Monday's cabinet meeting for you. Well, that is discriminatory. That is positive discrimination. The reason is that cabinet took notice of the peculiar nature of their tasks and the risks, exposures therein, and was of the view that they be allowed to stay on their old pension programs and therefore be excluded from the unification of pensions under this act. And that is why the minister is being asked to take the necessary steps to commence the amendment process. You recall that earlier the Interior Minister had mentioned publicly that no, they would not be included. But Cabinet had to now give permission for the amendment of the act in Parliament, which is what has happened. which is what I've been instructed to announce to you this morning. So, Doc, if you join me and deal with about 4 questions for
go to the interbank market and bring you updates on how the local currency is performing. We also update you on latest prices of major commodities on the international market. Stay with us.